Been kind of a long day, and this is the end of the day. Something that I run into an awful lot with River City Trucks. We lease trailers. We have the car haulers, the 3 and 4 car haulers. We have the dump trailers. We have a couple flatbed trailers and one single car like tractor, like equipment trailer. So we lease trailers. We do some rent-to-own work with some of the trailers. And a lot of the questions I get is from folks that are just wanting to like rent them for a day. Right now, the dump trailers, a daily rental is fine. With the single equipment trailer, that's fine. But when you get into the 43 and 40 foot long low deck flatbed trailers we have 2 of, or even the 3 and 4 car hauler trailers that we have, those are not really daily rental trailers. And the reason for it is because they're commercial carrier trailers. I mean, you're not going to hook that thing to your truck and go zooming down the highway and just go ride by a way station without having some serious problems. Not that you're overweight, but that you don't have a DOT on there. And I had a guy call me one time and he said, "Hey, I've got these cars and I'm moving. I got a couple 3 cars I want to move all at one time and take them with me as we move. And I want to be able to rent the trailer for 2 days to take them from Jacksonville to," I think he said Atlanta or South Carolina or something like that. And I told him, I said, "Well, we can't rent the trailer because you don't have a DOT. You're not a commercial carrier." The guy's like, "Why not?" And he kind of got a little upset at me because I wouldn't rent him a trailer to do that. And I simply told him because these are commercial carrier trailers. The trailers that we lease out are all in River City Trucks' name, which is a commercial company. And if you get stopped, because I can guarantee you got 3 cars on there, even if you're below 26,000 pounds, you get 3 cars on there and you go zooming by some way station, especially in the climate we're in right now with, these illegals that have been doing these traffic accidents. And all these troopers and way stations are on hyper alert about this stuff. So, they're going to see a guy go zoom right by with a 3 car hauler and 3 cars on there. They're going to light out after you and pull you over. And then when it turns out that you don't have a commercial carrier, you don't have a DOT number or an MC number, especially if you've gone across state lines and you don't have an MC number, there's going to be a lot to do with that. Will you get a ticket for running a trailer like that behind your truck when you own the cars? It is possible. Now, theory, it might not be, but it does happen. You're going to be pulled over and all kinds of things will happen. Say the wrong thing, next they're confiscating your truck and my trailer. And so that's why we strictly just don't do it. We don't allow that. If you don't have a DOT or you don't have an MC, we will not rent or lease to you, do a rent-to-own or lease to you, one of the car haulers. The shortest time that we do a lease would be a month. We don't rent them by the day or by the week. You have to rent at least 1 month. Now, the next thing I always get is we have a restriction on the truck that can be used to haul the 3 car and 4 car haulers. It's shocking to me how many people come to us, through our website or through YouTube or anything or something like that, and they say, "Hey, I want to lease or rent to own one of your 3 car haulers or even a 4 car hauler," which is even more astounding. And I have a 2500 or an F250, and I'm like, "That you can't run that trailer on a 250," and it's why not? And then I have to tell them. Because even if you're not going to have a company, let's say you just wanted to use it for personal use, you're still going to have to go through the weigh station with it. And the problem is that the rear axle on that 2500 or 250, the axle rating on that rear axle is like, I think 7,800 pounds or something like that. The trailer will get you, most of the way there. With the trailer and the truck's going to get you most of the way there. I mean, a 3 car hauler is going to start out around 5,700 pounds. We actually have one that's like 5,200 pounds, but 5,700 for double axles. You get into a 3 axle trailer, you're going to push well into the 6s, like 620, like 6,200, 6,300. You're probably going to need a CDL to get up that high because I don't know what 3 cars you're going to get like that. But even nevertheless, you can't put that on a 2500 or F250. it's too much weight for the rear axle. Now, will it work? Absolutely. You could put, more weight than what the Ford or Chevrolet or Dodge says to put on. Sure, you could do that. And it'll last a little while, but then the next thing you know, it doesn't last. And when it doesn't last, and the bearing seizes to the axle and just severs that thing like it's got a karate chop, and off goes that wheel, and the truck falls down, and possibly the trailer flips over, and all kinds of bad things happen. It's my trailer out there, right? It's the trailer that our company owns that's out there flipped over on the side of the road that we have to deal with. So we do not allow any of the car hauler trailers to go behind the 250s and 2500s just for that reason. Now, a 4-car hauler, we do allow to be pulled behind an F350 or 3500 on a 4-car hauler to an extent. And the reason I say that is because a 4-car hauler, the way that most of them work, unless you have, and even ones with flip out, say they have a front flip out and a rear flip out on a 3-car, it's adaptable to 4-car haulers. When you do that, it actually puts a lot of weight on that rear axle, especially depending on how you configure your loads. Nobody that's driving a truck with 4 cars on it's going to be able to run non-CDL. And that's the third question I get the most. When do I need a CDL? Well, at 26,001 pounds, you need a CDL. They say, well, can I lease a 4-car hauler? Do you have a CDL? No, then you can't lease a 4-car hauler. And they're wondering why we don't allow that to happen, because it's our trailer. We don't want to see it in some weigh station somewhere where we have to have somebody or have one of our guys go pick it up because they put you out of service in our trailers in trailer jail. So if you have a 2500, it's a no-fly zone for a 3 or 4-car hauler. It just can't be done. They make some 2-car haulers out there that you could probably run behind a 2500 without a problem. But no 3 and 4-car haulers, you can't run behind there. If you're running non-CDL, you can forget running 4 cars on non-CDL. If you're running non-CDL and you run a 4-car hauler and you configure wrong, if you're not a CDL driver, which you have to be to get it, if you have a CDL and you don't configure the cars right, you could still overload the rear axle, even on the 3500. So typically on the 4-car haulers, we typically don't let people run the 4-car on 3500, 350s unless they understand and demonstrate to us that they know the configurations. Normally we require 4500 and 450s on the 4 cars. Now we don't have any 5 and 6-car haulers. They just don't make any sense. And when I say that, obviously for drivers out there, they can make sense of it. But for us, the cost of those trailers, those begin to really pierce that, $25,000, $30,000 when we buy them new. But anyway, I hope I've answered the question of why can't I put it behind my 2500 or my 250? And it's about the CDL, what you can run with the CDL and not run with CDL. And those are the biggest questions I usually get is, can I put it behind my 2500? No, we won't lease it to you. And it's because the truck won't handle it. Simple as that. Thanks for watching.